Alright, I think this is the last tournament I've got for this session here. I might have another one or something. I'll check and see how long this is dragging out for and see if I want to do another one. Alright, we raise Jack 9 suited. He checks. We check behind. C-bets are usually standard here, of course. I don't really have a whole lot of reason to check behind. I definitely prefer a C-bet with that. Defend the King 6. We're leading. Again, we're building a strategy on leading. We have a gut shot, and if I were to guess, he's going to raise this flop. No, he's just flatting. So now I think he has a jack or a queen or a 10. Jack, queen, 10, king. I'd say jack or queen. But now I have the nuts. So I'm just going to three barrel. I think he's got, like I said, I'm pretty sure when he, all right. So when he doesn't raise the flop, I'm pretty sure that he's got one of those hands that he feels like he's way ahead or way behind type thing. He doesn't want to blow the pot. If he were to raise the flop, I would be more inclined to think that he has an ace or total air or a king or a 10, like a semi-bluff type hand. But since he just flats my lead in this case, when he's been so frequently raising, it just really makes me think that he has some type of showdown. So when I bet here, I wouldn't be surprised if he folds. See, that's tough because now you got to think that. So he could have queen jack, or I'm sorry, queen 10, jack 10 type hands. Ace, queen jack. I'm sorry. Let me start over. You could have the queen 10, jack 10, ace 10. A lot of times we're chopping though, but when we're chopping, I think that he's most likely to have king jack or king queen. I don't see us folding. And we chop because he has exactly king jack. Like I said, on the flop he has showdown value. He's not going to raise because he wants to let me bluff it off when he's essentially, if he's ahead with a jack, then he's way ahead. And then when he raises the river, he's pretty much narrowing his range to the straight or a boat, unless he's turning a naked jack or queen into a bluff, which I don't think he has any reason to do that. So that is why I decided to soul read him for king jack or king queen, which ended up being correct in this situation. And we fold. Next one. Defend. If you notice a lot, actually, this is pretty significant. I haven't been 3-betting this guy a lot. He's been making, and that might be why I've been so successful versus him. I think out of these 8 tournaments I've done, I think I only lost one. He's making a lot of mistakes post-flop when I do these weird things, so I don't really feel a need to 3-bet him light with a hand like this. Like a lot of times I would 3-bet a hand like this and build that kind of strategy, but I'm electing to do, like I said, I'm electing to see a lot of flops and let this guy make his mistakes post-flop, and that's why I like peeling a lot of hands rather than 3-betting or folding more hands. Again, I lead here. Not sure if I like this with how I've evolved this strategy, only because it puts me in a lot of fucked up spots. Because hypothetically, if he has a flush draw and he chooses to raise me here, it puts me in a lot of tough spots because I have to call him down now with second pair. And if he has a jack, then he's just going to get all 3 streets from me, and I don't necessarily think he's 3-barreling a flush draw all the time. So I don't really like leading here, and I'm curious to see how I react to this. Now I only beat the straight draw in the air, so I think I should check fold this turn. Yeah, remember see, this is why I like to go over videos like this, because when I'm building a new strategy or building a non-standard strategy, I do things that don't make a lot of sense, and when I look back over them like I am now, I can kind of piece together what I'm doing and see what I like and what I don't like. And I really don't like this because, again, it's like I'm inducing a raise, but it's really tough to call him down. Maybe at the time, I'm not in the zone like I was. I'm not in the zone that I was in while I was in the middle of this session, and maybe I felt like if he had a jack, he would shut down, like just call. Like if he had ace jack and I bet call his raise and then I lead the turn, I might be able to get him to flat, and then I can check call a smaller pot on the river. So if I lead for 90 and he flats, say ace jack, and then there's only 500 of the pot, I can check call like 240 on the river. That's the only thing I can be thinking of right here. And again, I do not like this, and again, this is something I'm learning from. I don't like it, but that is something I could be thinking about at the time. That if he has a jack, like he just flats here, then now I can check call a smaller bet on the river, and maybe I bet. It wouldn't surprise me if I bet like 160 here or something, or 90. So let's see what he has before I say what I'm thinking, and I actually win the pot. Man, I must have been on some good shit that night when I played this guy, because that's not something I would do right now, but it seemed to work. The 90 on the river essentially stops him from raising a naked jack if I'm beat by a jack, and he can only really raise me if he has a flush. And also, if I'm bet calling a raise on the flop, I'm not necessarily giving him credit for only flush draws and like a jack, because he's been doing it so frequently that I think he has air. I think that betting 90 on the river into that pot size and calling a raise wouldn't be too terrible. It's obviously high variance, but if he's not capable of raising a jack, just a naked jack for value on the river there, then I definitely like betting 90 there. It minimizes my losses versus a jack. Of course, I lose a lot versus a flush, but I don't necessarily. I haven't seen him make big value raises on the river. Like, even though the pot's 680, I feel like his value raise when I bet 90 would only be like 350 or something. There's some players out there that if I bet that number 90, they would just shove their entire range, and that's somebody that I would not do that against, because if they have a flush, then I'm losing the max, and if they have a bluff, I'm getting a terrible price to try and call him down. But versus this guy, he's been making such small raises on the river for value and his bluffs that I think that that line is okay versus him. And again, like I said, the whole point of this video is I'm going to see myself do some very non-standard lines and try and find what's right and what's wrong with each of them. And if I were to try and justify what I did, because obviously I didn't just do it for the sake of doing it at the time, I had a reason for doing it. And the way I'm thinking right now is that he's not going to raise me with a jack, just a naked jack on the river. He will raise me with the flush, and I'm going to call, and I'm going to lose a lot, but I don't think he's going to raise a ton. And if he has air, I think he's going to raise me some percentage of the time, and I get maximum value, again, by somebody spewing it off. Or in this case, he just has ace high, and I get a little bit of value, and I am consistent with my bluffs. So I can't wait to see the comments on this video, because like I said, this is definitely some of this stuff's a little out there, and it's a lot of fun to watch and see how a reg, somebody who is profitable at heads up sit and goes, how they react to these situations, and how you can build a strategy to beat them. Sorry, I got a little cocktail action going on as well. So here we got this retarded 3-bet. Not a fan of it, because I'm just going to defend pretty much 100% of my hands and force him to barrel flops. So we see a flop, I flop. Top pair, not necessarily the nuts against him, because he could, I haven't seen yet, but he could be balancing with his overpairs and stuff like that. But that's a good size, because I've been doing the small bets. I want to keep consistent with my small bets, but I don't want to bet too small, because it is a wetish flop, and if he check raises me, my hand is not necessarily that far ahead against, like, even if he has like ace 7 or something, he's still got, you know, what, like 4 3, he's got like 7 outs twice, plus a ton of bad run outs. So I don't necessarily want to induce too many check raises, so I like a little bigger bet. Alright, let's see, nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. Alright, well, we had some good hands. Now we're getting into that There we go. Defend. Probably check call, but he doesn't bet. Betting small. That makes it tough. Some people will raise a jack. If I bet small like that, they'll raise a jack. But again, I'm trying to induce these raises. The 4 is a terrible, excuse me, bad river because you know, he could, a lot of times he's checking back a 4 for pot control on the flop, and I feel like that's a lot of his range. Just fold that. As you notice, I'm starting to fold a little more of my buttons pre-flop because he's doing that dumb 3-bet and basically forcing me to put 4 big blinds in pre-flop with a lot of my hands. So I'm not going to be raising my complete garbage just because I'm going to have to play some flops, and I do want some hands that flop well. So he 3Xs here. Usually when people 3X out of the blue, I don't really screw around. Queen 9 might be too strong to fold, but I do. Like I said, he's not doing it frequently enough. From what I've seen, that's the first time he's done it. He's not doing it frequently enough to exploit me if I'm folding a hand as strong as Queen 9 there. And if he starts doing it more frequently, of course, I'll adjust. He's defending. He's leading. If I don't think I raise here because he hasn't been doing it a lot, but if I choose to raise, I would make it like something like 170. That's the correct way to, well, 165. That would be the correct way to counter these leads if he's doing what I'm doing and leading a lot of air, and it gives me a pretty good price. And if he just flats this additional 85, my turn bet will probably be a number smaller than 165, something like 140, just to be consistent. And prevent getting exploited if he wants to lead a jack and call and then check shove the turn or something. I'm sure I fold this. Oops, sorry. Raise, fold. Okay. Next hand. Raise, fold. All right. Raise, fold. All right. Lots of excitement. Let's get a flop here. And he does it again. As wide as he's doing it, a shove, I'm sure is profitable. Somebody more adept at the math part of the game, I'm sure, can put together a formula to show that shoving here is probably more correct than flatting, which is probably what I do, which I do. And the reason I flat here is there's so many flops that he's going to c-bet, and I can just jam over the top, and I feel like I like to see more flops than I should. I might be losing some value in spots where I should be 4-bet shoving. But like I said, I'm sure some of you math guys or you hyper turbo guys, everybody, half this site, everybody that likes hyper turbos, I'm sure you can all show me that shoving there against that frequent of a 3-bet is probably more profitable than flatting. Don't mind flatting here. And I just run like God, apparently. So I'm going to bet real small, hopefully. Yeah, again, to be consistent with my bluffs. And we run out the terrible board, and he pots it. I don't give, I don't, again, the whole point of this strategy that I'm playing against him is to get him to spew, and I really don't think I fold here just because the way I'm playing just makes it so easy for him to spew in these spots. So let's break this hand down. In order for me to lose, he's got to have a full house, obviously, or a flush. Now we can take all the flushes. I think we can take all the flushes out of his range because the board's double paired, and obviously with my small bet, I'm repping either a queen or a boat, or what's now a boat. And a queen obviously is worthless now, and it's just playing for a chop if I call. And I mean, like I said, he's got to bet in order for him to have a boat here, he's got to check back the turn with trip aces on what appears to be a wet board and not raise my turn bet. So I'm sure I call here, and I win, and he shows jack 5. So like I said, again, I'm just trying to induce a lot of that kind of shit, get him to spew and when I have good hands. And that's the end of that one. I think this may be the end of my tournament, so I'm going to take a look around and see if we got some more. If not, then I'll finish up a little bit of closing for you guys. Well, we're at about an hour and 5 minutes, so I figured we'll call it a day for that session. I hope there was a couple of really interesting hands in there that I hope everybody got a little bit out of. But again, this is my first video that I've done, and I'm sure that I didn't explain hands as well as I would have thought, and I would love for people to post some messages for me or send me a message about specific hands. And I would love to go more in depth about some of them that maybe I didn't explain as well as I would have liked in the video, and I would love to go into depth about them in the forums or wherever I can do that. And hopefully, just let me know what you'd like to see from me in the future. I don't know if you guys like the non-standard approach, or if people are wanting to see more standard stuff. I figured that everybody had seen the standard stuff and wanted maybe something a little outside the box would be a little more beneficial to people in improving their games. But if you want to see something else, just let me know, and I'll try and do it. Thanks a lot for watching.